Hello and welcome to Simply Abide. In this video, it's going to be the second part of the Ruth study. I'll be going over chapter 2 of the book of Ruth. If you missed the first video, I will leave it linked below. I pretty much go through the first chapter of Ruth as just a running start, getting us into the story, and tell a little bit about the background. And if you're new here, thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name is Hannah, and this is To Simply Abide. I make videos about faith, homemaking, and simple living. So the second chapter of Ruth pretty much deals with the concept of when we move, God will do the rest. Ruth had just been through a bunch of disappointment and grief. Her husband died, she moved to a new land, there were so many changes and things she had to get used to. But when she decided to move, God decided to move in her life as well. But she had to take that first step, and we will see that in this chapter. I didn't mention this in the last video, but before I begin reading the second chapter, I just want to say that this is part of the barley harvest, which is in the springtime, so if that gives you a little idea of what's going on. Now Naomi had a relative of her husband's, a worthy man of the clan of Ahimelech, whose name was Boaz. And Ruth the Moabite said to Naomi, "Let me go to the field and glean among the ears of grain, after him in whose sight I shall find favor." And she said to her, "Go, my daughter." So she set out and went, and gleaned in the field after the reapers. And she happened to come to the part of the field belonging to Boaz, who was of the clan of Ahimelech. And behold, Boaz came from Bethlehem, and he said to the reapers, "The Lord be with you." And they answered, "The Lord bless you." Then Boaz said to the young man who was in charge of the reapers, "Whose young woman is this?" And the servant who was in charge of the reapers said, "She is the young Moabite woman who came back with Naomi from the country of Moab." She said, "Please let me glean and gather among the sheaves after the reapers." So she came, and she continued from early morning until now, except for a short rest. So that was verses 1 through 7, and in verse 3 we see that it says she happened to come upon the field. Ruth decided to move and do something about her circumstances, and God blessed her in this way because she happened on the field of Boaz, which would change her life. Just like that, me and you need to trust God to take us where we need to go. If we move, He will do the rest in our lives. Another thing that we see within these verses is that Boaz noticed Ruth really quickly. She must have had something that really stood out, so he inquired about her. We can learn a lot from Ruth and her character traits, and one of them is that she has a good reputation. When Boaz asked the man in charge about her, that man gave a good report because of the things she has done in her life. Her reputation was a good one because she helped Naomi among so many other things. So if someone asked another person about you, what would they tell them? Would your reputation and story be a good one like Ruth's or not? Then Boaz said to Ruth, "Now listen, my daughter. Do not go to glean in another field or leave this one, but keep close to my young women. Let your eyes be on the field that they are reaping, and go after them. Have I not charged the young men not to touch you? And when you are thirsty, go to the vessels and drink what the young men have drawn." Then she fell on her face, bowing to the ground, and said to him, "Why have I found favor in your eyes, that you should take notice of me, since I am a foreigner?" But Boaz answered her, "All that you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband has been fully told to me, and how you left your father and mother in your native land and came to the people that you did not know before. The Lord repay you for what you have done, and a full reward be given to you by the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge." And then she said, "I have found favor in your eyes, my Lord, for you have comforted me and spoken kindly to your servant, though I am not one of your servants." And at mealtime Boaz said to her, "Come here and eat some bread, and dip your morsel in the wine." So she sat beside the reapers, and he passed to her roasted grain, and she ate until she was satisfied, and she had some left over. When she rose to glean, Boaz instructed his young men, saying, "Let her glean even among the sheaves, and do not reproach her. And also pull out some from the bundles for her, and leave it for her to glean, and do not rebuke her." Another character trait of Ruth that comes out in this passage is that she was humble. When Boaz came to her and was dealing kindly with her, she fell on her face and thanked him because she knew she was not worthy of such kindness, but she was so humble about it. We also know that Ruth was very kind. She was kind to Naomi because she left her homeland to come to this strange place with her mother-in-law to take care of her, and God blessed her for this. Boaz knew of this and knew that he was a part of her family, so through him, God blessed Ruth tremendously. God always blesses those who strives to follow him and lives according to his word, and that was exactly what Ruth was doing. So if you read the rest of the chapter, it just goes into Ruth coming back home and telling Naomi about her day and who she met, and then Naomi realizing that this was a part of the family and was actually one of the family's redeemers. We will get into what a redeemer is and what their purpose was in the family unit back then, but for now that's all I'm going to be reading of the second chapter of Ruth. You can finish reading it on your own. but pretty much it just gives a summary about it, and then they get really excited because Boaz is a part of their family and a redeemer. So pretty much from this chapter, the question that we can take from it is, does our character show? Ruth's character definitely did show, and it was a good one. She had a good reputation, she was kind and humble, and we saw in the last chapter that she was also loyal. So that is some things we can learn from her life and from the book of Ruth. We know that God is always watching us if we are following his ways, because when we move, God will do the rest. Thank you so much for watching. The third part of this study will be up shortly. We will be going into letting God be our Redeemer in our lives and seeing how Boaz was one to Ruth. And as I said before, the first video of this series will be linked below just in case you missed it. I would suggest you go back and check that out and catch up on the study. If you want to learn more about the story of Ruth and her character, and you want to become a better woman of faith and learn to cling to God in the hard times, I actually wrote a 4-part study about this whole book of Ruth. I dive deeper into what it means to become a woman of faith and how to cling to God in the hard times. So if you want to check that out, I will leave that linked below. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.